your mat for a very short meditation. If you're seated, you may want to take the mudra, so interlock your fingers and have the index fingers together and the two thumbs together, and lay the hand in your lap with the fingertips pointing to the earth and the thumbs to your heart. If you're laying down, you may just want to have your hands on your bellies and just meditate on your breath. Close your eyes. And for the moment, just be aware of how busy the mind might be. Don't judge the thoughts that you're having. And now we're trying to settle the mind by simply focusing on the breath. If you're in an uncomfortable position, you need to change that position straight away, because the only thing that you will be focused on is how uncomfortable you are. So if you're seated and uncomfortable, lay down. Now bring your awareness just to your natural breath, your inhales and your exhales. No need to change the breath. The mouth is closed. The eyes are softly closed. We start to become the observer of our breath. We notice each inhale through the nostrils and each exhale through the nostrils. And each time we are distracted by a thought or a sound, we simply return to the observation of the breath. You may have to do this numerous times, as the mind likes to be active. Just keep your focus on the breath. Maybe take your awareness to the tip of your nose. And notice as you inhale, the breath is cool through the nostrils. And as you exhale, the breath is warm as it leaves the nostrils. Only the breath. If you have taken the hand mudra, we'll release that mudra and bring your hands in front of your heart in prayer mudra. Namaste. So that was just to bring a little bit of peace within the body. And now we start our stretching. So we're going to lay down on our mats, and the feet will be flat onto the mat. We just lay down, hands down by the side of the body, feet are separated. And we leave the feet where they are. We're just going to take the arms up over the shoulders, just a nice long stretch of the armpits, touching the floor behind us. And then on the exhale, we'll bring the hands all the way back down by the side of the body. We'll just take that flow now into the shoulders, inhaling, rising up, and exhaling all the way down. Now, if you find that your hands are not reaching the floor, that's not a problem. You just need to take your arms a little bit wider and they may reach the floor then. Just check out what's happening in your body as you focus on the breath and this beautiful flow as we open up the shoulders in preparation for your practice. I'm going to do two more. Inhale is rising up, touching the floor behind you, and the exhale all the way down by the sides of the body. And now we're just going to simply bring the knees, both knees into the chest. Place your hands on the knees and have a little roll around on that lower back. The next stretch will involve the hamstring, so you may need to use your hands. So bring your hands down by the side of the body, place them on the mat, and take both legs up to the ceiling, straight up to the ceiling. When they arrive there, point your toes to the nose and the heels to the ceiling. Now, if your hamstrings are tight, your legs will ask you to hold on to the back of the thighs, and that's absolutely fine. So you can hang on to the backs of the thighs to enable you to keep the legs up in the air. And then release the knees into the chest. So just bring the knees into the chest again. And then we stretch the legs up again, toes to nose, heels to ceiling. Remember, you can hold on to the back of the thighs. Exhale, knees to chest. So taking this flow into the hamstrings, lengthen up, toes to nose, heels to ceiling. Exhale, knees to chest. 2 more, toes to nose, heels to ceiling. Exhale, knees to chest. And then the last one, rising up, toes to nose, heels to ceiling. And exhale, knees to chest. Now we're going to do body coordination. So we're going to do the arms and the legs exactly the same as we've just done. So arms up and over, legs now up to the ceiling, toes to nose, heels to ceiling. Exhale, knees to chest, hands down by the side of the bodies. Let's take the flow. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Remember, toes to nose, heels to ceiling to get into the Achilles. Exhale, fold. 3 more. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. Let's do 1 more. Inhaling. And exhaling. Knees to chest, rock and roll. Place your left foot flat onto the mat. Take your right leg straight up to the ceiling and take your right ankle across your left knee. Flex the foot. With your right hand, gently guide your right knee away from the body. Option 1, you're staying here. You've created a triangle. Option 2, you're going to pop your right arm through the triangle, pick up the left foot and bring your hands behind the left thigh. Your head may lift up off the mat. Try to keep the head down, but don't worry if it lifts up. Or you may want to have a little pillow under the head. Just into the hips now. Just nice easy breathing, nice stretch into the hips. Now some of you may find that you want to go a little bit deeper, so you can take your hands in front of your knee, just below the kneecap, and draw in a little bit tighter. The right foot is flexed, so you push the heel away to protect the knee joint of the right knee. And we breathe. And I'm hoping you're feeling this stretch. Hamstrings, hips. And then slowly the left foot comes down and the right foot comes down. The left leg rises up to the ceiling. We cross the ankle over the right knee and again guide the knee away with the left hand. Your options are to stay here or through the triangle with the left hand, round the back of the thigh, draw in. Either stay here or a little bit deeper, hands in front of the kneecap, not on the kneecap itself, just below it, and draw in a bit deeper. Left foot is flexed, so pushing the heel away to protect that left knee. And again, we find that beautiful stretch, not only in the hips, but in the hamstrings as well. And then slowly we'll pop the right foot down on the mat and the left foot down on the mat. Draw both knees into the chest, have a little roll around. Place the left foot flat onto the mat. take the right leg up to the ceiling. Take your hand behind the right knee and draw the right knee towards the right armpit. Just draw it towards the right armpit. Some of you will stay here. Some of you will crawl the hands down to the ankle and draw the knee in deeper. Your right foot is facing to the ceiling as if it's walking on the ceiling. Some of you will stay here. Some of you will take your hands outside the edges of the feet and draw the knee a little bit beyond the armpit, but sort of to the side of the armpit. And then some of you may even have that foot that's flat on the mat. Take it long. Push the heel away and see what's happening now on the left side as well. So again, lots of different options. That foot can stay on the mat or the leg can be long, but the foot that is looking to the ceiling is facing to the ceiling. One more breath. Again, it's hips. And if that left leg is long, it's hamstrings. Push the heel away. Check out what's happening. And then bring both knees into the chest, rock and roll. And same flow, right foot down onto the mat. Left leg up to the ceiling. Hands behind the knee. We bend the knee and we draw it down towards the left armpit. Just outside the left armpit, we're heading in that direction. Foot's facing to the ceiling of the left foot. And we slide to the ankle if we want to and draw down a bit deeper. And maybe take the outer edges of the feet, go a little bit deeper. Lots of different bodies, lots of different hips, lots of different options. The right leg can stretch long, and if we're stretching it long, we may as well push the right heel away and get really into the hamstrings and the quadriceps of the right leg. And we breathe. And then slowly bring those knees back into the chest. We have a little rock and roll. We place the feet flat onto the mat. And we're simply going to roll over to the right. We're coming up into all fours. Anybody who needs blankets for their knees, take your opportunity now. Have a blanket for your knees. Support the knees, make it soft. You may be on carpets, you may be on mats, but the knees are always quite vulnerable if it's a hard floor. The hands are directly underneath the shoulders now. The knees walk back until they're directly underneath the hips. You can have your toes tucked or untucked, it doesn't matter. We're going to inhale the gaze up to the ceiling and take the buttocks up to the ceiling. We have a back bend. And then on the exhale, rounding your back, really arching the back up to the ceiling, gazing to the navel. And we flow now into this really nice articulation of the spine. Gaze up, buttocks up. Exhale, rounding the back. And just feeling what's happening in the spine. There's no rush, we're stretching. Exhale, rounding. And then one more. And rounding the back, gazing to the navel, and then come back to neutral. So you're going to keep your buttocks high, but you're simply going to take your right elbow down to the mat, your left elbow down to the mat. You're going to keep your buttocks up in the air, and walk your hands forward, and then bring your forehead to the mat. So we're back into that nice armpit stretch where we began, and we can feel the stretch of the armpits. We draw the belly in slightly. Now some of you will just stay right where you are, and some of you will go deeper into your shoulders. So imagine you're going to walk on your fingertips. So as you come onto the fingertips to walk, you lift up the wrists, and then you're going to feel this a lot deeper into the armpits and into the shoulders as well. You don't have to do this. You can have the hands flat onto the mat. One more breath. And then slowly release the hands down. And then we'll walk the hands back so we can walk the buttocks back, and we'll rest in child posture. Your arms are still long, but if it's not comfortable for you in this position, you can simply take your fists underneath your forehead, one on top of the other, and settle in a little bit more of a comfortable position. We're coming back to that all four position again. So knees under hips, hands under shoulders. I'm going to tuck the left toe. I'm going to take the right arm all the way up to the ceiling. And bring the arm all the way back down again. Lift the arm all the way up to the ceiling. And exhale down. Some of you will stay with that flow. Some of you will lift the right arm all the way up. Exhale down. As the left toe is tucked, we'll stretch it back, we'll lift it up, stretch it away, and then lift the arm up. And then release down. One more, lift up, and release down. Change sides. So the right toe is tucked, the hands are underneath the shoulders, the left arm rises. And come back down again. The left arm rises. And come back down again. And we're stretching. Left arm rises. Some of you will stay with that flow. Some of you will stretch that right leg away. Have a nice straight hamstring. Lift up. Back down. Lift up. And down. One more, lift up and down. Bring the knees back down again, walk your hands back. Open the knees really wide, bring the big toes together. I'm going to walk all the way down, stretching as we go. Now some of you may want to have that fist underneath the forehead again, that's absolutely fine. Stay here, we're opening up the groin. Nice long arms, drawing the heart down to the earth. Feel free to stay here, or we're going to take a little walk with the hands. We'll walk to the right. Right arm walks, left arm follows. Right arm walks, left arm follows. Take the bow. Come back to the center line, take an inhale, you may be staying here, that's fine, exhale down. And then again, we take the walk to the left. If you took it to the right, we'll take it to the left. Nice easy breathing. And then slowly, all the way back to the center, nice long arms, take the bow. And then walk the hands back and bring those knees together, back into all fours. And again, we'll do that cat-cow again, so just lift up the gaze, lift up the buttocks, and exhale rounding. From here, we're going to go into downward facing dog. But some of you may not be happy with downward facing dog, so you can just continue with this little flow. And then rest a while. If you're happy with downward facing dog, untuck your toes, take your arms super long in front of you. Remember that armpit stretch, we want to feel it again. The super long arms, anchor the hands to the mat, inhale onto your knees, tuck your toes, lift your knees, exhale, we're in downward facing dog. Now we have worked with the hamstrings. So they should feel okay, but we may need to still work with them. So bend your right leg, bend your left leg. Just really working with the hamstrings now, until we find that we want to settle into our downward facing dog. So your head is just in between your upper arms. Your tailbone is up to the ceiling and you're pushing your thighs back towards the back thighs. Now if your heels meet the mat, maybe walk a little bit further away so that they don't meet the mat. so that you can get the true full stretch in the quadriceps, the hips, the Achilles, the whole of the back. One more breath. And then slowly knees onto the mat. Untap the toes, buttocks to heels, and soften. And we're coming back into all fours. Blankets may need to be required. We'll be on our left knee. Hands under shoulders. We're going to take hold of the right foot and bring it forward. The left hand's going to go out to the side of the mat a little bit. And the back toe can stay tucked and the back knee can stay down. We're going to take that arm flow again. Inhale, lift you up. And exhale, takes you down. Those who want to go deeper, the back toe is tucked. We'll lift up, we'll push that heel away and we'll stay here. So you either have the knee down and you're just floating up and down, or you have the knee lifted, you're pushing through the left heel and you're draping this arm. So you're really getting this maximum stretches. Nice easy breathing. And then slowly change sides. So we bring the left foot forward and the right toe is tucked and the right hand outside of the mat. And again we lift up and come down and we can stay with that flow. Nice easy breathing. All that back toe is tucked. We can tuck it, push away that back heel, and we're just really going to drape into this beautiful twist. So strong arms. Nice easy breathing. And then slowly bring the knees down and we'll return to child posture. The next portion of the practice will be standing posture, so if you're not happy with child, please do come to standing, we'll join you there. We're going to take down facing dog and plank. So we need to have the arms super long in front of us. Stretch those armpits, anchor the hands, do not move the hands. Just simply come onto the knees, tuck your toes, lift your knees, exhale, hips back, heels back, we're down dog. Now we shouldn't need to move any feet or hands as we transition into plank. So we come into our plank, shoulders over wrists, and we push the heels away as soon as we arrive in plank so we can activate these big strong leg muscles. Knees can always come down if it's too intense. Exhale back to dog. Inhale, float you into plank. As soon as you arrive, shoulders over wrists, push the heels away. Activate the core. Do not look up at the video, keep your gaze looking at the mat. Exhale back to down dog. 2 more for those who want to. Inhale. Push the heels away. Easy breathing. Inhale. Exhale dog. Inhale into your plank. Push the heels away. Feel the strength. Feel the stability. Engage the core. Exhale back to dog. And then we're going to join those who are at the front of the mat maybe. We're going to walk forward. Bend the knees. Inhale, rising all the way up. And a big circle takes us back to our heart centers. So the breath is a little bit ragged now, especially if you've been doing your planks. We want the breath to be settled, so we settle in Tadasana. Shoulders back, we feel ourselves grounded into the earth. We just focus on our yogic breath. So we know that the mouth is closed in yoga, and we inhale and exhale through the nostrils. It's generally on a 4/4 rhythm. We're inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. There's a slight constriction in the throat. It sounds like the ocean. So just be aware, inhaling and exhaling. Let's take that with movement. So bring your hands in front of your heart. Inhale, rising all the way up, lift the gaze. Big circle, exhale, takes you back to your heart center. Inhale. Exhale. One more, inhale. And exhale. Bring your feet together. Stretch the arms up, interlock the fingers. Take an inhale here and exhale over to your right. Inhale back to the center and exhale over to the left. Inhale back to the center and exhale over to the right. Some of you may want to take hold of that wrist and just feel that little bit more intensity in the stretch. All the way back to the center and exhale over. And again, if you want to take that top wrist and just feel a little bit more intensity in the stretch and come back to neutral. And then exhale back, down by the sides of the body. Your feet can stay together or they can be slightly separated. We're going to do Utkatasana. Utkatasana works every muscle, joint, bone in the body and all your internal organs. It's great, all in one posture. So inhale the arms all the way up. And exhale, just take a seat. Now remember that yogic breath that we were working on. The mouth is closed. We're inhaling through the nostrils. We're exhaling through the nostrils. Focus is on the breath. The tailbone is coming down towards the earth. And yet the heart is lifting. So it's a zigzag shape. Back issues, you may want to have your arms here. No back issues, your arms will be all the way up. Those who really want to be a little more intense can always come onto their tippy toes. We have a couple more breaths. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. This is the last one. Inhale. Exhale. And inhale, we rise. And exhale. Back to Tadasana. So you can see that it's quite a strong posture. And we can go one more round if you want to, or we can just check out our breath, your choices. So inhale is sort of lifting up. You may want to change your feet, maybe have them wider apart or closer together. Exhale down. The tailbone down, heart is lifting. Breathe. You can also have your hands together in prayer, which will take it more into the shoulders. Remember, you can go on tippy toes as well. It's all your challenge, your yoga, your body, and your breath. 2 more breaths. Feel those quads. Inhale, we rise. And exhale, release. Good work, guys. So we're going to open the legs nice and wide now. So we're in for stretching and strength and stability. We're going to take it into warrior 2. So come to the sides of your mat, have nice wide legs. Bring your hands in front of your heart. Inhale, rise up. And exhale, open. Shoulders tend to come up a little bit, so soften them. You can always turn the wrists up and then rotate back again, which softens the shoulders. Your right foot does the full 90-degree turn. Your back foot can stay straight forward or it can turn in depending on your hips. Walk your right foot further forward. Now check your right knee is tracking over your right ankle. And at all times you can see your second toe. Try not to come forward. Imagine I'm going to come into your room and pull your arm back so that your hips and shoulders are in line. If you place your strength in the back leg, this will take it into a more powerful posture and protect the front knee. All a bit too much for the arm, that back arm can come behind you. You can always straighten the leg, come out of it and go back in again. We're holding for 2 more breaths, inhaling, power in the back leg, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling, and then inhale back to the center. Bring your hands in front of your hearts. Inhale, lift. Exhale, open. Soften. And the opposite direction. Take the foot, walk it away, bend the knee tracking over the ankle. You can see your second toe, the back leg is strong. We're gazing at the front fingers. We're not coming forward, we're moving back. Take an inhale. Arm can go behind. We can straighten the front leg, or we can stay in the power posture. Breathe. Inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling. One more breath. Inhaling, exhaling. Inhale back to the center. Bring your hands in front of your hearts. Inhale, lift. Exhale, open. Soften. Right foot full 90 degrees. Back foot strong. Walk the right foot away from you. Knee over ankle, elbow to knee now. Back hand on hip. Move the back hip back, move the back shoulder back. We're not leaning on them. This is not a ledge to lean on. It's just aesthetically there. Options, you're staying here. You're going to power through that back long leg. You're not leaning here. You take that top arm all the way up, and you're going to take it all the way over. Stretch. From that back heel to those top fingers. Take a little twist and open up the heart. Nice easy breathing. And then inhale all the way back up, back to the center. Arms up, soften, turn, opposite direction, bend. Place a hand there, back hand on hip. We're staying here for option 1, the back leg is powerful. Taking it all the way up and stretch over. Push that back outer edge of the foot into the mat. Stretch with the fingertips. Feel the stretch. Lift up the heart a little bit. And then slowly we come all the way back to the center. Bring your hands in front of your hearts. And again, we focus on the breath. It may be a bit ragged. So this time we're going to really work with both sides of the body in Trikonasana. So inhale the arms all the way up. With the length of both sides of the body, we want to keep that length. Exhale, open. Turn the right foot a full 90 degrees and the back foot turns in. Both legs are straight now. And then just bring the hand to the thigh. That's all you need to do, and stretch up. Options, you're staying here. We're going to slide down a little bit. Now the bottom hip comes forward a little bit, and the back hip goes back a little bit. And maybe we slide a little bit more. But you want to keep this side stretched. So you want to keep this stretch in this side of the body. I'm going to go into the back. Your gaze can be at your toes. It can be forward, or it can be up towards the thumb. If it's up towards the thumb, the nose is in line with that thumb. And we exhale maybe a little bit more. And we check out that we can still breathe. We're focused, we're strong. One more breath. Now to exit this posture safely for your spine, a subtle bend in that front knee will protect the spine. We'll come back up again and bring your arms back down. Both arms to the ceiling. Exhale, we open. Remember, we want to keep that length in both sides, so walk that opposite foot away, hand to the thigh, both legs are straight. Check out both legs are straight. We're staying here. Always sliding a little bit. Bottom hip forward, the back hip back. Gaze down. Gaze midway, or gaze up to the thumb. Nose in line with thumb. And again, we slide. Just finding our way. Finding our breath. Finding our strength. Breathe. And then subtle bend of that front knee. We're going to bring you all the way back up. And bring your hands in front of your hearts. And then feet together. We're going to take some nice stretches in a forward bend. I'm going to pop my back to you because it's a little bit easier for you to see what I'm doing. So we're going to open the legs nice and wide. And we're going to flex from the hips. So we're going to keep the back quite straight as we come forward. Now, some people who have got back issues, forward bends are not really going to be a good posture for you. So you'll have to bend your knees or have your hands on a wall. So take an inhale. Exhale, stick your butts out. Bend the knees if you need to for hamstrings. Bring the hands to the earth. Onto your fingertips. Looking forward, spinal extension. Straight back. Exhale, take a bow. Onto the fingertips, we look forward. Spinal extension. Exhale, take your bow. Look at your kneecaps and lift the kneecaps up. When we activate the quadriceps, it allows the hamstrings to open a little bit more. Now your opposing muscle group, activate them and open up the hamstrings. Spinal extension, look forward. Take an inhale and an exhale. Take your right hand to the mat and take your left arm all the way up to the ceiling. Nice little spiral rotation. Bring the left hand down to the mat and take your right arm all the way up to the ceiling. And then exhale all the way back down again. Spinal extension, looking forward. Bending the knees. Bringing the feet together and coming to the front of your mats. So rising all the way up. Bend the knees, one down. All the way back into downward facing dog. Bring both knees to the mat. Untuck the toes, buttocks to heels, soften into child posture. And you may need your blankets again. We're going to be working into the core. So coming up into all fours, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. We'll be on our left knee first. Right leg stretches away. We pick up the right leg and push the heel away. We can have that left toe tucked or untucked, it doesn't matter. Don't want to have that leg too high. You want to keep it more low than high so that the back stays neutral. If you want to, the left hand can leave the mat and we stretch away from the back heel to the left fingers. And then change sides. So the right toe tucked, the hands under shoulders, the left leg. And again, we lift it up. We push the heel away. We do not have that leg too high. We keep that spine neutral. Take that right hand off the mat. Push away with the back heel. Stretch away with the right fingers. And change sides. Right leg stretching, hands under shoulders, pick it up, left leg, left arm stretching, gaze core, back to the center, left leg stretching, pick it up, right arm stretching, lengthen, and then release, and back to child posture. We're going to lay on our tummies. Hands underneath the forehead. And check out how we're feeling. Just a couple more abdominals for those who want to. We're coming into Sphinx. So the elbows are underneath the shoulders. We have a back bend. Chest is proud. Tuck your toes. Lift your knees. Push your heels away. We're in forearm plank. 2 intense. Pop the knees down immediately. Cross the ankles. Keep pushing the heels away. Keep looking down at the yoga mat. Strong core. Squeeze the glutes. Release. Come back. Either onto your hands laying down or into your Sphinx. One more round. Tuck, lift, push back, squeeze glutes, engage core. And then release down, hands underneath the forehead. Soften. And we're just simply going to roll onto our backs, all the way onto our backs. And where we began, draw your right knee into your chest. Stretch your right leg up to the ceiling. Take the right ankle across the left knee. Guide the right knee away. We're staying here, option 1. Go through the triangle, pick up the left leg, drawing in, letting the back spread on the mat. Change sides. The feet flat, left leg is rising, across the right knee. Staying here or through the triangle, around the back of the thigh, drawing in, spreading out the back. And then release the feet to the mat. We're moving in now into relaxation. So I'm going to ask Malcolm, who's in the room with me, to lay down on my mat and show you the position you need to be in. So you can have a blanket to cover you, or you can have a blanket for your head. We're moving into Shavasana, so just lay down on your mats, head on the pillow, lay down. And the legs are nice and long. And they're quite wide actually, so take them quite wide, and the palms are facing up to the ceiling. And the shoulders soften, and we just bring our attention to our breath, closing our eyes and resting in Shavasana. So this is quite an important part of your practice. A lot of people like to skip it, but it really is one of the essentials. So to keep you on the mat, I'm going to give you a meditation visualization, so you can just really listen to my words and take yourself into the location I suggest. We're all quite housebound at the moment, so we're just going to take a little journey outside. I'd like you to focus on the colour blue. The colour blue. Feel it as a strong, vibrant glow. And allow this colour to go around your body like an aura of light. Allow this colour to surround the body, radiating healing. And as it grows around you, it forms a cloak of protection. Start to be aware now of the breath being quite smooth and seamless. And maybe you'll start to feel a little bit more relaxed. Now imagine you're waiting beside a lake. It's a warm day. The lake is still and placid. And a small boat is coming towards you. And you recognize the boatman as a friend. He invites you into the boat. And you sit down and admire the view. A beautiful day, crystal clear water, not a ripple in sight, only the movement the oars make. All you are aware of is the blue sky, the blue lake, and the sounds of the oars skimming the water. Eventually you come to a small island, and on this island is a small castle. Someone is waiting to greet you at the door. You are being made very welcome. You are directed into a large room, and blue light fills the room. It seems to filter down from the ceiling, cascading onto a deep blue velvet chair. You are guided to sit down on the chair. And as you sink into the deep blue velvet, you feel a cloak being draped across your shoulders. It feels so warm, so soft, and so safe. You feel as though the guide is saying to you, let this cloak protect you. Allow this blue velvet cloak to be your protection, and put it on any time you're in need of help or healing. So now allow the warmth of the cloak to help you relax, going deeper and deeper and deeper into the velvet chair. All too soon you find yourself back in the rowing boat, drifting along back to the lakeside. Yet you know you have been comforted, and you know that any time at all you can ask to wear the deep blue velvet cloak. Please do remain on the mat for as long as you would like to. Namaste.